because I believe in the goodness that has come in the life of the man that we are here to celebrate today. I'm Reverend Mary Masters. If I haven't met you, I have the honor and privilege of serving here. And we are here to welcome you to our celebration of life service. I realize that for a lot of us it might be feeling like it's a little too soon to be ready to celebrate, that there's a lot of feelings, some shock, or sadness, grief, lots of things. But as I thought about it, that was one of Steve's gifts that I really appreciated, is that he was really good at being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, staying present in the midst of conflict or discomfort. And that's one of the legacies that he leaves with all of us, how he modeled that. And so we come together today as family and friends to support each other, to express our love and appreciation for this beloved man, Stephen Thoren, the wise and loving person who blessed our world and finally his soul grew so much he was ready to move on. I want to thank Mary Beth Bowman-Slager, our third chaplain, director, for being here today to hold sacred space. You know, I think about a person's life as being like the facets of a crystal that light shines through. And each of us just see some facets of it. You knew him as a father or a son or a grandfather or a husband or wife or a friend, a community member of our church. But most of all, he was a friend to all of us. And so my prayer today is that this service in our sharing will help us to see the wholeness of his human expression, the many facets through which God's light shone. And most of all, to remember his spiritual nature, that he was a spiritual being having a human experience. And so, in honor of this sacred time, let us begin with prayer. As we center our attention on this time and place, we focus our attention on the presence of God, indwelling and transcendent. Today is a sacred day in our hearts, and we ask God's blessing on our gathering here today, and all those that are not here with us but wanted to be here, that are part of us, that are here with us in spirit, to honor the life of Stephen C. Thoren and support his family and loved ones. Thank you, God, for giving us the precious gifts of peace and acceptance. Thank you for the sure and certain knowledge that Steve is in your care as he continues on his eternal journey. We have been blessed by our experience of knowing Steve. We trust that there is a greater plan at work in our lives. We release Steve onto your care, grateful for our experience and our memories of his life well lived. And we affirm your light surrounds us, your love enfolds us, your power protects us, your presence watches over us. Wherever we are, wherever Steve is, God is there also, and we know that all is well. Amen. So I invite you for a moment to turn to one or two people next to you and just greet them. Peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
All good.
I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, did. Oh.
And now, I'm so pleased that Andy, George, and Mike Drayo can be here to share music with us, and they're going to now hear a song, which is very fitting. What a wonderful world.
see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, they say, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I see babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful
Thank you. Our purpose here today is to remember our dearly beloved Steve Thoren and to reaffirm our faith in eternal life as we bless Steve on his way into his next experience in living. It's my prayer that from this time forward we may never think of Steve as limited in any way by time or form, but always as a living soul, continuing on the pathway of life, ever in the wise and loving care of the divine presence, or whatever name we call it, infinite, God, higher power. I'd like to just say a few words about the importance of remembering the spiritual truth about Steve and about all of us that have passed on. You know, when we remember someone, we often say we remember experiences or memories and times we spent together, and we'll have some sharing of that later in a little bit. But we can also remember the spiritual truth about a person, that they are a soul that lives on and comes and has this experience. And then my grandfather was a Methodist minister, referred to it as a commencement, graduation ceremony, and he was ready to expand into something more. And we can also think about remembering as two parts, two words, bringing together the spirit parts, bringing together all the members into create the wholeness. But I think as we gradually, through our grieving process, come to acceptance and finding meaning and purpose and sharing our gratitude, it helps us to feel more at peace with the person's passing and acceptance and faith. You know, the word that Jesus used for death actually translates as not here, but appearing elsewhere. And so, you know, when we say, well, we've lost a loved one, well, they're not really lost, I don't think. You know, we haven't lost them. We know where they are. You know, that they have moved on to another dimension of living. They're kind of like that caterpillar that just finally had to shed its skin and transform into a butterfly. So as we remember the spiritual truth, we can take inspiration and hope from our human memories and our experiences of witnessing how the human grew and sharing our stories. And that is one of the ways that a person lives on in our lives. So we want to begin today with some family sharing about Steve, and then there will be an opportunity for others to share.
Good morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm April, Steve's daughter, and thank you for coming to celebrate my father's incredible life. I'm not going to be long. This is not a eulogy. This is my way of being able to say goodbye. Way too soon. None of us expected it, and I know now what an impact he had on so many lives. And I found comfort in seeing people's memories and what he was up to, because I had only just a small idea of all the things that he was doing when he was joy walking, at the young center. That was pretty incredible. He was the president there, and he was very proud of that. I loved listening to his writings for the newsletters. But I do take comfort in hearing all of your memories and how you knew Dad. Also, please fill out those memory cards up front, as we would love to have them. So, trying to describe my father, words fall utterly short. It's impossible. He was an enigma in a way. He challenged people's ideas, even his kids. He could be a real SOB. Yeah, I didn't say that word. I said what? He was relentless, but he did, ease up when he would see if something was bothering someone else. Sometimes he didn't. I was lucky enough to be sober these last 5 years, because our relationship was very strained. I drove my entire family insane with my alcoholism. I lost my daughter, and he showed me how to keep my many chins up, and he was a comfort, and he knew how much my daughter meant to me, for me to agree to the living situation that she is in, because her life is amazing. Her father is amazing. And even her father remembered Dad's advice on how to be a dad. And he was kind of like, just roll with it. Just take the punches as they come, brush yourself off and get back up. Which didn't satisfy him. He wanted instructions, like how do I do this, that, and the other. You'll be fine. And Dad really did just roll with it. Sometimes he looked like he knew what he was doing, and he absolutely didn't, but he didn't try. He wasn't just our father. He was a father to so many friends. He was the rock, the pillar in my family. I am so proud of who he was. He was not my biological father, but I never felt any different. He was a father to his students. He He was a father to my friends, my siblings' friends. And if you look up all the definitions and Young's version, he surpasses all of that. And like I said, words fall short. We did a lot as kids. Even after he worked 16-hour days, he was writing papers in grad school to become a helper of kids. He worked with many populations as a social worker, but I think working with kids was his true niche. I always got jealous of those kids because our guidance counselors or social workers would be like, nobody wanted to go see them. Everybody wanted to go see Dad. It's like, he had candy in his office too. Yeah. And he'd have to tell them, you can't keep coming in here. You keep hungry. But I noticed on social media, which he was getting very good at, a lot of his students were deeply affected by his advice and his guidance. Sometimes I think he didn't know what he was doing with us, but he sure knows how to take those rules and apply them to other kids too. Or she's fine. So my siblings and I are not the only ones saying goodbye to father figures today. And I've been on autopilot because I have to be. That's just the way that I am. I want to be there for my siblings. I want to be there for my mother, like my father was there for my mother. They had a special relationship, and he honored his vows even though they were separated many years ago. He took care of her, and now we need to take care of her. The strength that I've been afforded from all the support in my family and my boyfriend and my boyfriend's family has been immense. He was the type of person that was super objective, obnoxiously objective. You get in trouble at school and he had to hear a detail, well, what did she say to you? And obviously I said and did that stuff. But I wanted him to be on my side, when in fact he was on my side, teaching me that's not how you behave as an adult. I have tons of happy memories with him and way too many to recount. But he was always up for new adventures. He was never too tired for anything. He had appointments to take us to, Rama left the car door. When Dad took him to the dentist, I think he might have tripped him and said he was going to Darien Lake, which, seriously, that's on him. And as soon as Rama and Dad got there and Dad got out, he locked that door. He put up with a lot of crap from us. So, I don't know how he learned to balance all of these responsibilities and still had time for us, but he did. He set the bar very high for other people in my life. There is no one else I know that is an iota of who can hold a candle to him. I think he was proud of my sobriety, because I became his daughter again. I became April again. Not this angry, nasty person. He also learned to let his hair down, and I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? So, I'm just so proud of my siblings right now, my sister and my brothers. He would be so pleased that we are doing this together. We're hurting together. We're healing together. And Dad would be super happy. And I know that he is proud of his kids. He loved us more than life itself. He might not have shown it in a physical way, but he showed it by like doing everything. I mean, he did everything. Dad, I need you to drive me, 40 minutes from here now. He's there. His nobility, his integrity, and his earnest desire to keep seeking more knowledge holds so much peace in my heart. I am not good at goodbyes. And I'm not going to say goodbye to him, but I am going to say that I will see you later, because I know how firm his faith was, and I know that he has graduated. And beyond the veil, his love for his fellow man and his family and friends are truly something to be a part of. We have to say goodbye to so many things that we won't be able to again, but the unconditional love and loyalty and integrity Dad has, I plan on honoring that. And I plan on repairing my relationships that might be strained. Please do that if you have some strained relationships. Yeah. Because Lord knows we did not expect this at all. And I am most grateful for him showing me how to be a good parent. It is not about what I want. Because what I want, it isn't happening 90% of the time in any of our lives. We do things we don't want to do. Thank you again for coming. And that's all.
He was so much to so many. And the days and weeks leading up to today, I've been seeing and hearing stories about him from other people and who he was to them. The role he played in their lives. He was my father, but he wasn't just that. He was a deep well. He was an advisor, a counselor. He was a joker, a prankster. Everyone can probably recall the time he made a pratfall while bringing you something heavy or delicate. He was an oddball. He was a helper and a fixer. He brought joy to so many people's lives. And I'm so happy to hear all the ways he's done that. I think it's very fitting that we prefer to have celebration of life rather than viewing it as funeral. As we as children grew older, we began to learn more and more about his childhood. My father wasn't raised in a Jewish household. He was a sensitive child who didn't fit in very well, and people weren't understanding of that when he was still young. He wasn't nurtured or encouraged. His parents didn't give him any reasons to feel joy. Yet he persevered. The name Stephen is derived from Greek stepanos, meaning wreath, crown, and by extension reward, honor, renown, fame. And from the verb stephane, to encircle, to wreath. In ancient Greece, crowning wreaths, such as laurel wreaths, were given to winners of contests. I don't think my dad was made to feel like a winner in his early years, but I do think he found his victories where he could. And he certainly found great reward in all the ways he managed to bring joy to his life and into the life of others. He worked incredibly hard to carve a path for himself and to provide a life for his children that was different from the one that he was given. And he did it by leaps and bounds. He didn't follow in the footsteps of those that came before him. He did it in his way, and he made us know at every step of the way that he loved us. He never had to wonder. He met us as children and as adults where we were in life. He never forced us to be where he wanted us to be. His life, to me, serves as a testament to the power of radical acceptance. He accepted us as children and as adults for who we were and are, and he gave us love and support and care, regardless of anything that was going on with us. To us, his children, he was a victor. He was our champion, and he was our goofball dad who brought us light and laughter and love. He gave us surprises and sentiments. He also gave us stillness. He gave us peace, calm, peace. I remember quiet time. I think in me, he also saw a sensitive, introverted childhood. He let that be what it was. He nurtured that. The world is still not kind to sensitive little boys, and he knew I would have countless reasons to want to find a way to hide or to seek escape in fantasy or magic. He gave me opportunities to seek and find reprieve away from the horrors that other children could be. He let me create fantasy where I could make it, and he let me see magic where I could manifest it. The music from games he'd get me, or for us, all of us kids, is still something that triggers memories of those early years of wonder. He had no way to know how much the stories of those games would take me away, or how much the music would and still does move me. But it did, and it gave me a refuge away from the not so pleasant aspects of life. There was a movie he took me to see when I was probably around 11 or 12. It was just when I was really starting to get into anime. It wasn't commonly played in theaters yet, and not a lot of people respected it as, a form of entertainment or knew about it. But this movie was in theaters and was by a well-respected director who was called Princess Thoren. I'd never seen anything like it. The music and the story moved me in a way that I'd never played before. It was formative for me. They had a clear, defined message of how sacred nature is, how sacred the earth is, how important nature is, and how degraded our relationship with the natural world has become. And all the way back to the times of feudal Japan where this movie takes place. And that was something he continued to show me and nurture, a love and respect of the earth that we live on, that we inherit and steward. We were raised in the city, but he took us any chance he could to get us out of it and to get us into nature. Saturday day trips out to creeks and hiking trails, running and playing in the water, finding salamanders and roots of frogs, going fossil hunting, showing us this part of life was important to him. Oftentimes children don't understand what is special and sacred about the world we live in when you try to show them within four walls and out of book. Lots of lessons were lost at me as a child, but beauty of our world, the sacredness of the earth beneath my feet, the holiness of a breath filled with the scent of newly blown leaves, the delicate, gentle flow of a stream between my fingers, that was not lost on me. He wanted us to feel that, and I felt it. He showed me that despite darkness, despite abandonment, despite circumstances, there are victories to be found. There is joy to be felt. There is love to be shared. It's always there, and it always was, if you could release your shame and dare to deserve it. At any moment, Dad was fully engaged with life. He was really, really living. He didn't wait for good. He went out and he made goodness, however he could manage to do that. And I think that that's what celebrates.
I could always count on him, no matter how much time has gone between when we talked or texted, and then the days before that was on phone. He was there for me. He was there for me, for my ups, my downs. Always a good shoulder to lean up. And he had really good advice. I can remember way back in the mid-70s there, early mid-70s, we had a lot of conversations about, we do this about this with your family. You know, when you were upset with somebody who wasn't really reacting to you like you wanted them to. And he had some very, very good advice. And it worked. And I know one time he came down and helped me out changing the water heater. And I can remember about being on a trip with all the kids over Beaver Island, and the car quit. And we had to get AAA and stuff, and I think there was some kids with his son, maybe that day. Yeah, and another time when the kids were little, Wolfie and I we went up to the Festival of Lights. It was up by Niagara Falls, and I said to him, Steve, you realize between the two of us, we've got 7 kids here. We're really outnumbered. Don't worry about it, it'll be fine. I'm like, we're going down these paths, and you can see the railings and the falls, and I thought, oh, picturing somebody climbing through there or whatever. Yeah, but it all worked out, and I think the important thing is spiritually, we connected a lot early on, many years ago. I won't say how many, but he was always a very, very good positive impact. Dealing with the world, your belief, spirit, in God, your belief, and how to pull the better part of you up. And I always try to go with that. Instead of, it's real easy to get mad, to criticize. It takes a whole lot more work to try to improve and try to reach out. Reach your potential, I guess I want to say. He was a good example of that. He did live life to the fullest, like he said, and he was comfortable in his own skin. And I admire him quite a lot. He did a lot, like he said, work with kids. Even I remember Tony time he took dress Trinity as dog up as a reindeer. He dressed up as that bus at the school to treat the kids to something. And that's the kind of social work you want to go see, right? Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. As everybody knows, Steve had 4 sisters, and I'd like to point out that I'm the youngest of the sisters. I'm Stacy, and my other sisters are sitting here next to me, and it's nice to see you. Steve was incredibly smart, and that was one of the things I really admired the most about him. And he inspired a lot of things for me from a young age. Mostly, I remember coming out here, and he took me to the Aubrey Knox Museum, art museum, and when he said we were going there, I was like, oh boy. But he ended up being like a personal tour guide, and it was the most fascinating day I'd ever spent in any kind of situation like that. And since then, I had the fortunate opportunity to go to many art museums in like the Louvre, the Hermitage in Russia. I mean, I've been to many with my sister, and that came from Steve and developing that love there. Also, he introduced me to the Spiritualist Church, which is still a very profound part of my life to this day. But he was a lot of fun, as a lot of you know, and okay, some might even say he might be a little quirky, but one of the things I love most about him was his authenticity. He marched to his own tune, but he held fast to himself, and I really love that about him. For having 4 sisters, we didn't grow up together, so we didn't get to share a lot of opportunities for experiences together. But those that we did were always, in fact that he was there. And one of the funnest days I remember, I know this is crazy, but it was at a funeral. We went to a funeral, and I live in Ohio, and so I went to New York for the funeral. And I had to have time off from work, so when I came back to work, somebody said very solemnly, "How was the funeral?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, it was so fun." And everybody was horrified, and I said, "Well, no, my family was there, and my brother came in, and he was in rare form that day. He was just hilarious that day. We had the best time at this funeral." And, because we didn't grow up together, the flip side of that, if you have to find the silver lining, is that we did not experience sibling rivalry. Whatever experiences we have are always positive and genuine, and I always take that with me when I think of Steve. And I know she's gonna kill me, but Amy's got a funny story about her dad. Amy, my mother would do that to me.
I have a couple of things I remember about Uncle Steve. I remember Grandma always saying, "Oh, your Uncle Steve, he just marches to the beat of his own little drum." And I marched my own drum a lot, so I have always appreciated that about him. My dad always tells me the story. He says, "The first time I ever met your Uncle Steve, it was on Christmas Day, and he pulled into your grandma's driveway. I didn't know who he was. There was this long-haired hippie climbing out of the car window. And he said, so I went out and introduced myself. I said, "Hey man, you need a hand? Like, what if I can't open the door?" And he said, "Well, I was on my way from Buffalo and hit some ice, and the car rolled and it landed on its wheels, and I just kept going." And I thought that's just Uncle Steve. The car rolled, he landed, and he just kept rolling. And I think he let us all just keep rolling through this and all the hard times.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Any other family members that want to speak? Okay. Okay.
Hi, I'm Becky. I'm Yvonne's daughter. So, my Uncle Steve, just like everyone else has said, is so much fun. One of the best memories I have of Uncle Steve was with me and my mom, Sister Katie, I think it was. Us and Rob, we went to the Galleria, and Uncle Steve was just like, "Watch this cool trick," and then jumped on the escalator, go down, but pretend it was a surfboard the entire time. He lived it. He was like making wave noises while he was going down, and he got off, and he was like, "Yeah, hang 10, everybody," and just had the time of his life just going down this escalator. But I feel like that truly just really encapsulates who he is as a person. Just, okay, I'm gonna have this fun time, and I don't care who's looking. So, but yeah, he was a great brother to my mom. They did not have a good experience growing up, but once they got to being adults, they were always there for each other. Even though they weren't physically close, they were a little distance away, but they were always there for each other.
I'm Janet Lees, and I've known maybe 3 people here. I try to make a long story short, but much like Steve, I'm not capable, so I'll try my best here today. I run a little well-being center. I do something called Catholic Light Weaving, and I've kind of kept lights on for about 10 years now. About 6 months ago, Steve showed up, came to the door, a cup of coffee in hand for one of my meditation groups on Sunday. And he kind of sauntered in, and I'm sleeping. I was like, "Oh, hi." And he's like, "Well, I've been joining speed-up groups because I'm president of the Carolina Center, and I want to support, push it, get people to go." "Well, okay, geez, I belong like years ago in their old location, and talked about young, a red book, and we had a great time." So the meditation went on, and it's a very powerful healing. And we wound up in volunteers just about that happened. So the next time he came, there were more tears and more healing. He suffered a lot of personal childhood traumas that were being released in this situation. Then he kind of went from every other week to every week, and I just said, "He's coming there to the church some weeks." He was getting more and more healing. He was getting more and more healing. So it was very special. We shared views on spirituality. I'm very attached to nature, I do shamanic work, I do something I call Celtic light weaving. And I sort of had this idea that when certain people pass, they can be everywhere all the time helping people, especially helpers. And that's in the short time that I knew Steve, that is what he was. So I found out, he didn't come for a couple of weeks actually, it was kind of a shock to me. Someone messaged me and said, you know, Steve died. I was, oh no. Felt horrible, but then at the same time, well, when somebody goes to my place, I trust it and what we talked about. So the next morning I was driving along, doing some delivery work actually to keep my head above water, and it was a rainy day, and I was out in the city, and I was like, Steve, you know what we talked about? You know, that whole, could you give me a sign? Oh my God, I'd be too serious now, because I know how funny it is. It's something, a sign. And I look up, and this heron goes flying over. Now, I'm a nature person, I see red-tailed oxen a lot, I'm in the city. And I thought, oh, a heron. Is that the sign, Steve? Really, a heron? That's it? Steve the heron? And I didn't really know his last name. And I thought, wait, isn't it Thoren? And if you reverse the O and E, it's heron. So I don't know how much you need to believe this stuff. That was enough for me. I was like, oh my God, Steve, I broke into tears. You're here. You're everywhere. All the time helping people. No reason to come to me special. You're in this space where you can be everywhere. You're not like when you're human, oh, I need help. I gotta run here. I gotta run here. He's everywhere. I felt so full of like joy. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta tell somebody. So I pull over and I'm gonna call one friend who was at a meditation, would know who Steve was and understand my language. And just before I pulled over, I said, I gotta share this with his people, his friends, they need to know. 2 herons fly over. So I talked to this Sharon real quick. I said, Steve passed away. I'm so sorry. I know, but he's in a better place. You gotta hear, So I started telling her. So I started thinking back, and in that past week, since he had passed, I had 3 or 4 heron sights, odd kind of things. Like, I went to St. Vincent de Paul, and there was a statue of a heron, but it was made of plastic, and I left going, someone was carrying it around. I had downloaded a picture that was of a heron. I didn't download it because of the heron. I liked the watercolor effect. I didn't even think about the heron. That started appearing on my phone. So, heron after heron. That weekend, my partner and I went for a walk in Rhinestone Woods. I said, we're going to see a heron. Within minutes, there was Steve the heron, out of the water. And he goes, I'm scared. My partner, I go, no. I go, hey, the heron turned. I have a video of this. He just turned, caught a fish, and flew away. So then the friend, if I can go on, it's really important. The friend that I shared that with contacted me. She said, right after you told me that, she said, the next day, I saw a heron at the dog park. She sent me a picture. She lives out in Lewiston. It was a beautiful heron sculpture in the garden. And a friend sent her a card with a heron on it. And her name happens to be Sharon, and she got a piece of mail that was addressed to Heron Dalla. Okay? So if you have any doubts, I'm going to give you one more thing. As the week went on, I lost my nerve to do this. But I kept feeling, Steve, with a cup of coffee, go on, do it. Like, I don't really have the nerve. So last night, I'm like, should I? I look up, do a delivery work again, a heron is flying beside me. I went to get my camera to try to photograph it. It disappeared. I went out a mile, made a right turn to my delivery, and it flew right over. I swear it gave me a thumbs up. And had a cup of coffee, joking there. So driving here, I lost my way. And I started to lose my nerve. I said, they need to hear this. He's everywhere all the time helping people. But Steve, can I get one more sign? I'm getting nervous. I come down the street, I walk in here, I take this seat, and behind you. So he's everywhere all the time helping people. He really is.
Thank you. My name is Gary Roman Hicks. I've been a member of Unity Church for the past 27 years, so I've known Steve all the time I've been here. Steve definitely is an angel, probably now appearing as a heron that's earned his wings on earth. Such a giving, loving person. And I'd like you guys to repeat after me with lots of love and energy. Steve, we love you.
We love you.
Thank you for sharing your life with us.
Thank you for sharing your life with us.
Now spread your wings and fly.
Now spread your wings and fly.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Kowalski, and I consider Steve a fellow sojourner. Others consider us maybe lovable oddballs. But as I've been very diligent about my path, my journey, and letting Spirit guide me through all the decades, Steve's path. Yeah. If I need to speak louder, I can. I can fill a room. So as our paths just crossed a number of times. The first being in the 90s when he was working for Monsignor Car Institute and I was working for Crisis Services. And I had a hard time referring some of my very troubled youth. I was doing homicide and suicide intervention. So my kids were really desperate situations. And Steve was running an after-school program, or was part of it, and he'd always find space for one extra kid that I needed to get in. Many years later, as I returned to Buffalo and was church hopping, I landed here at Unity, and I found Steve. so Steve and I got to know each other here, did a number of things together, and I went away again, and came back and was church hopping again, and I landed at Trinity, and I got involved in 12-step recovery. And on the Thursday night, Steve was there, bringing the trumpeter. And we kind of were doing our own thing. But then I've been involved with the Young Center for 19 years on the board of directors. And I give presentations every fall on an introduction to Crown Young and his teachings. And Steve showed up one night and I said, "Oh, I didn't know you were interested in Young." Turns out that he had read more books than I had, like 5 to 10 times more books on Jung than I ever had. I said, "Oh, interesting." So we got talking about that. Got him involved in the board of directors then, and I had been trying to step down for a number of years. And finally, when Steve was willing to step up to the board, he agreed to take on the presidency with some support from me and the president at the time. I was very thankful for him stepping up to the presidency to finally let me step down. And it was a great shock, and it was great to see that he was bringing new life and new energy to the Young Center. He was out there talking to everybody about the Young Center. We had too many introverts for a long time. Introverted thinkers, intuitives were just spitting ideas, and Steve was out there doing stuff. So it was a great asset to an organization, and it's a really sad loss. But fortunately, he's recruited some other people, and I think we are off on that. Thanks.
The cliche, people say, "Hey, he's one of the good ones." People hear say that all the time. But Steve legit was one of the good ones. Like, I can truly say that. First off, I've been a friend of Rhonda's since we were 11 years old. And as boys do at that age, we would roughhouse, we would wrestle. It got so bad to the point, like, Steve would come home from work, there'd be holes in the wall, tables broken, glass broken. He said, "All right, enough of this. You're not allowed to come over while I'm at work." We still did. He knows we did, But, so, growing up, I didn't really get the chance, came from a single mother household, didn't really get a chance really to go out and do much fun things. So, there was Wednesday nights, as long as Rama, Sarah, and Robert get their chores done. We can go out on Wednesday nights, we can go anywhere, So one particular time, I was saying to Steve, I'm like, man, I like animals, I've been to animals like cats, dogs, everything. I've never really been to a pet store before. And I just mentioned in passing, okay. So one Wednesday night, he made it all about me. We went to 4 different pet stores. And he had, that's his night to take his kids out. But for one night, as April said, he was like a father to friends. That's one memory that always stood out to me. I didn't do much. And I continuously went out with those guys a lot on Wednesdays. But that particular time when he took me to all of us to those 4 pet stores, it meant everything to me. So I know we'll all see him again, and I love you, Steve, and I'll never forget you. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I felt like Steve needed a little more representation from this church, because Steve was the backbone of this church, and I was gonna cry. I just realized until we passed just how much it meant to me to have him here. And he could be fun, and he was also very serious about learning and practicing. And you know, the very last thing I participated in with him was a chaplain training, and I'll tell the story. We had a couple sessions. In the first session, I had talked about this idea of step up, step back, which is meeting guidelines. Like if you're shy and you don't say much, step forward, and if you tend to talk a lot, step back. And so Steve was a step forward kind of guy. And I think he kind of missed that the first meeting, but when we went through the guidelines the second meeting, I literally saw the thought in his head, and he went, And I saw the mindfulness of, I am learning, you know, to the very last minute, he was learning. He was so serious about learning. And I miss him a lot. And I miss his little jokes, and I'm going to miss his little jokes around here. And we did so much together. He took care of the land back there. There's a labyrinth, and he helped to build the gazebo. We did Voice Buffalo together. He would come to my NBC practice group. Nonviolent communication, sorry. It was learning how to be more mindful in communications. He even got me a gig with the social work conference to do a session of nonviolent communication. I mean, there's just so many things we did together, and yeah, it was a shock, but I also feel that all of that is in us, and we carry him forward, and all those little gifts he gave us. I think that's the perfect segue into, I wanted to say a few things about what Steve has meant to our ministry. You know, I realize I've been here 20 years, and I feel like he has been my partner in ministry. Over this whole 20 years, he's always been a leader, a conscience, a guide. You know, he served on our board for 6 years. He was board president for 3 years. He has co-led or played a major role in every organizational initiative we've ever done. He co-founded our prayer chaplain program that is so important to our ministry. He led the appreciative inquiry process, our transformation experience. He really was committed to our peace park. He wrote so many grant proposals and made things happen. He held that vision. And he was part of our community development team that explored some other possibilities for leveraging our property and assets. And he was a regular newsletter article writer. He loved to write. He had a gift for writing. In fact, I've gone through and pulled out all of his old newsletter articles and made some copies for his family, and there are some extras over on the table there. But I wanted to just share a few things. That there was a period of time when he was referring to our church or encouraging us to think of ourselves as a center for inspired living. He kept saying, Unity of Buffalo, Center for Inspired Living. Not like that. But I think about that's how he lived his life. He was a center for inspired living. He inspired all of us. And I put some of the quotes on the back of your bulletins, some things that really stood out to me. And one of the things that was one of his more recent contributions to our ministry was making these benches, these park benches, in memory of people. There's one out in the front for Ellen Anderson, Ed O'Keefe, there's John Scott in the back, there's several out in Peace Park. So I just want to encourage you to maybe that's a way of getting closer to Steve, is to sit on one of those benches and think about him and contemplate his thoughts. But as I looked at these articles, I was so struck by how deeply he cared about making the world a better place for his children, for his grandchildren, for all of us. And the path that he saw to do that was leadership, becoming the best leader that he could be through all of his growth, learning, through unity, young materials, and everything else. And then he knew that a good leader encourages other people to be leaders. And he was really good at that in our ministry, with seeing the leadership potential in others and encouraging that. And in helping organizations as a whole become leaders in the community. And so he did that with us, he did that with Boys Buffalo, he did that with the Young Center and other places. He was the kind of leader that wasn't afraid of hard work, to roll up his sleeves. I mean, he was the first one here when we had a spring cleanup. He's here all day doing the work. He wouldn't ask anybody else to come and write leaves if he wasn't willing to be here himself and do it. And one of his articles, was about leaders. Look and listen. It was a gift for him to be able to look and listen and stay present in uncomfortable conversations. And through the ups and downs, conflict or not, he stayed in the buggy. Somebody I know likes to say that he never walked away from an uncomfortable situation. And just two things I want to share, and then we'll move into our music and meditation. But I'll always remember the story about the shed that's outside of our back door here. Was located on the Peace Park. And one day they decided they wanted to move it all the way up close to our building. And they couldn't budget, couldn't move it. And he and John Scott, they went and got John Scott's girlfriend, Vera, had this big Cadillac or some kind of big car. And they borrowed her car, I don't think she knew this, and they literally got behind that shed in the car and pushed it all the way across the parking lot. She was here, she just said it was the funniest thing she ever saw. These two guys in this car pushing the shed. So he just was willing to do whatever it took to make things better in some way. And I feel like these words from one of his articles in January 2019 kind of express his thought. He said, I guess one of the things I have learned from the many projects, teams, and volunteer involvements here at church is the importance of reflecting on my goals as well as reaching out to others for help in fulfilling them. I get a feeling of accomplishment for the things I have helped bring about. And I feel pride in knowing my efforts and ideas have had some good effect on our church community, in particular the building and grounds. Organizations are not simple. Neither a school system nor a church community is simple. Neither are individuals who work within organizations. But he says, he goes on to say, all of the book, he says, I'm doing a lot of looking back these days. But I'm happy about the good that I have been a part of creating. And I'm sobered by the reality that change can be more than a little difficult. And I like to think that at the end of his life, he was doing a lot of looking back, but feeling good about the ways that he has brought good to the world and helped make things better with every place, every person he touched. And I have heard so much of that this week, for these last few weeks, about people who got cards or notes from Steve encouraging them. We still have those cards. We still remember the encouraging words that he shared. So, we'll be able to continue this sharing over lunch, but I want to move now into our time of meditation. We're going to begin with Andy and Mike sharing with us the song Imagine, and then Mary Beth will lead us into a meditation time, and we'll have one of the songs.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. trees. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. A brotherhood of man. Imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
April, Robert, and family and friends, on behalf of the prayer chaplains here at Unity Festival, we are holding all of you in our hearts and in our prayers is along with you. We mourn the passing of our dear friend and challenger. It was just 2 months ago, right here in this sanctuary, that we prepared for the coming year as prayer chaplains. And Steve attended all of those trainings with us, 2 full Saturdays and another 2 hours of meeting. Together with Steve, we cussed and discussed during that training. Steve brought up topics and perspectives that I can assure you were not in the training. He brought so much richness to our discussions. I am so grateful for all he contributed. He helped us take the training to a new level and an understanding that was both very human and very deep. He made this past year's training perhaps one of the most meaningful trainings we've ever had. The night I learned of his passing, I sat down to pray and meditate, and I asked Steve, how would you like to be honored? Right away I heard, I don't want to be honored, I want to stay connected. And then I heard, well, maybe a little honored. So I imagined he was sitting next to me, just sharing space, not trying to have a conversation or get a response from him, just enjoying the space. The way you might silently enjoy a sunset with someone you are close to. No words are necessary. That's the connection I feel Steve wants. And that's the connection I'm inviting you to imagine as together we enter into meditation. Picture with the eyes of your heart, Steve sitting beside you as you share this time with him. we remember love is the eternal bridge that forever connects us and holds us together. So I invite you to focus on your heart. Imagine your breath flowing in and out of your heart a little slower and a little deeper, with even inhales and exhales, finding a comfortable rhythm. And think of a happy memory with Steve, something that makes you smile. Let that smile relax you and fill your whole body. And just imagine Steve sitting next to you as you radiate love, compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, kindness, all of those emotions and any you feel. Just share those with Steve right now in this space. As you take your inhale, see if you can feel, sense, or know Steve's love for you. And as you exhale, share your love. Share your love with Steve. He's right next to you. If you'd like to picture him as Steve the Heron, Steve Thoren the Heron. Just remember, as we bring this meditation to a close, you can always return to this space and just imagine him right next to you, sharing your love. For love is the eternal bridge, forever reconnecting us. Thank you. I wish you strength to rise unafraid, like the morning sun taking on the day. Because when you shine, you light up the place. I wish you strength.
strength to rise unafraid, like the morning sun, taking on the day. Because when you shine, you light up the place. I wish you strength. I wish you faith. I wish you peace. I wish you strength.
Now, I'd like to have a prayer for remembering. And this is in your bulletin if you have it, or you can look on someone. And the refrain, we remember Steve. In the rising of the sun and in its going down,
We remember Steve.
in the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter,
We remember Steve.
in the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring,
We remember Steve.
in the rustling of leaves and the beauty of autumn,
We remember Steve.
in the beginning of the year and when it ends,
We remember Steve.
when we are weary and in need of strength,
We remember Steve.
when we have joys we yearn to share,
We remember Steve.
when we have decisions that are difficult to make,
We remember Steve.
when we have achievements that are based on theirs.
We remember Steve.
So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us.
We remember Steve.
And so, I thought maybe as a parting message, to share with you these words from one of his newsletter articles. He said, be aware of what lies in the quiet, as well as act outwardly for the good of our community. Always ask yourself, are you satisfied that you are fulfilling your unique mission in the world? Are we, Unity, Young Center, fulfilling our mission in the world? And knowing that God will help us as we help ourselves, there's a lot we'll be able to do and look back on with feelings of pride and gratitude. May God bless us all, Steve said. And now, let's get divinely busy. So before I close today's service, I want to thank everyone that has helped support our service. Mary Beth, with beautiful meditation and holding space. She will be available for prayer if anyone would like prayer after the service one-on-one. I want to thank Anna D. and Mike and Christine Ford for beautiful music. I want to thank Christy Stevens and Don Hicks for our tech support. Everything's good and the sound is clear. I want to thank our greeters team, Karen and Elaine and Michelle, who put it all together. And the reception downstairs, Latasha for the catering, but I just thought how perfect it is, a community meal that many of us have contributed to is the perfect way to honor Steve, because he was bringing people together. So if you have a card or a note you want to share with the family, there's a basket outside the office door there. There's a guest card here, guest book here, and opportunity to share memories with the family and enjoy for years to come. And then we have a reception, wonderful reception downstairs that you're all invited to join us with. And if you're feeling full and you need to walk it off afterward, I understand it's 2 o'clock today. The Joy Walkers are meeting at the corner of Elmwood and Allen Streets, and they're going to walk and spread some joy in honor and memory of Steve Thoren. So some of us may want to join. If you're meeting at the corner,
it's at the corner of Elmwood and Allen, right in front of Jim's Steakhouse. And Steve was a diehard Joy Walker.
Okay.
So you are.
So So we're all invited to go for a joy walk today at 2 o'clock and in front of Jim's Steakhouse at the corner of Elmwood Avenue and Allen Street. So now on behalf of the family, I just want to thank everyone for your presence here today, for your thoughts, sharing your love in all the ways that you've been communicating and sharing on Facebook and other ways. So let's close with our prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us with all light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so may we go in peace, inspired and uplifted, and knowing that we have a friend in spirit now that will always be getting our attention and sending us reminders to keep coming up higher. God bless. God speak. In our hearts forever. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your